technological advances and if they're good or bad for the environment and the human race as a whole. And I am Victor Kabiba. From the first day humans came about to the present year of 2013, technological development and advances have paved the way to what seems to be easier and safer lives for people. Our advancement in our intelligence has led to some of the greatest inventions of all time that make life simpler. From computers to new forms of energy to medicine, modern advancement looks as if there are only positive outcomes from technological development. These changes not only help us but are also becoming social norms at the same time. A quote from eNASHA.com states, "But nevertheless, we are very much affected by the technological changes that assist us in our daily lives. These intellectual advancements in the human race created beneficial inventions such as solar power and electric cars. Companies like Tesla Motors are innovating electric cars that are changing our country." EnergyInnovation.org states, "Electric vehicles lessen dependence on petroleum-based fuels and rely on domestically produced electricity, boosting the national economy." However, do our technological advances always lead to a positive outcome? From the harmful rays exposed from X-rays and cell phones that negatively affect people to the everyday pollution from cars and factories, we can see that technological advances aren't necessarily good for the environment. Wasteful energy policies, overuse of resources, water supply shortages, global climate change, and deforestation are some of the issues experts say will need to be addressed by will need to be addressed for humans to achieve sustainable living on this planet. By the year 2025, an additional 2.9 billion people will strain the tightening water supplies, and the world's energy needs will go up 60% by 2030, according to the United Nations. So that leads to this question. Are technological developments such as cell phones, computers, and other electronic items, innovations such as solar and wind power, and advances in medicine and other items completely beneficial to our lives as humans? Or do these intellectual demonstrations hide false hope and secretly negatively affect our environment and us? Computers, phones, televisions, and other electronics are items that would be seemingly impossible to live without today. These devices allow us to stay informed with news around the world at all times, provide us with hours and hours of entertainment, and hold many pieces of important information that make the world work the way it does. The Huffington Post reports the UN Telecom Agency says there were about 6 billion subscriptions by the end of 2011, roughly one for 86 of every 100 people. The fact that just under 90% of the world has a cell phone is staggering. What this means is that the vast majority of the world today can be connected with a single call to one another. This is a major innovation for today, but it has brought up a lot of controversy. Most people today believe that the heavy use of cell phones is causing brain problems or diseases such as brain cancer. This, however, as a study of bioelectromagnetics proves, is a common misconception. The graph shown shows the relation of the cell phone usage per day and the new cases of brain cancer from 1991 to 2008. One can tell from looking at this graph that there is no direct correlation between usage and new cases of brain cancer. This concludes that there is no conclusive evidence that can prove that cell phones produce brain cancer. This shows how technology is beneficial to humans with little or no harm to them. Another innovation used worldwide affecting our daily lives is the car. Since its creation in the 1800s, this invention has come a very long way. Right now, there are over 235 million cars on the road in the US alone. What does this mean? This means that there are just under 3 billion total miles traveled in the US alone per year. Because of this rapid growth, it of course has led to a negative impact in the environment. The Union of Concerned Scientists, an original MIT organization, is now a global group of citizens that work to solve the world's most pressing problems for a brighter future. Their article stated this about car pollution. Transportation is the largest single source of air pollution in the United States. It caused over half of the carbon monoxide, over a third of the nitrogen oxide, and almost a quarter of the hydrocarbons in our atmosphere in 2006. With the number of vehicles on the road and the number of vehicle miles traveled escalating rapidly, we are on the fast lane to smoggy skies and dirty air. With such a reputable group coming out and saying this, it is obvious that cars, a resource that is dependent on our everyday lives, is terrible for our environment. There are 7 harmful pollutants that come from cars. These pollutants are particulate matter, hydrocarbons, nitrogen oxide, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, toxins, and greenhouse gases. All of these pollutants pose very harmful threats to our air quality and our ozone layer. The challenge today is how to lower air pollution while creating a vehicle that can be used daily. The car, as one can see, is an invention that is great for humanity in its day-to-day life, but also awful for the future quality of human living. In 2013, companies are realizing that enough is enough and giant strides are being taken to reduce pollution caused by cars. Tesla, an electrical car company, has made great strides since allowing their model, the Tesla Model S, to be purchased in early 2010. What this company has been able to do is create a car that can last up to 300 miles per charge. By doing this, they have been able to create a car that drastically reduces its effects on the environment and can be used every single day. A quote from their website states, "The Tesla Roadster has an efficiency of 88% compared to 20 to 25% efficiency for traditional gas-powered vehicles. A higher efficiency means less energy is needed to produce the same propulsion, thus reducing the vehicle's electricity consumption and associated environmental impacts. Tesla's vehicles' carbon and pollutant emissions will improve as more renewables are integrated into the grid over time. Gas-powered vehicles, on the other hand, use only a non-renewable resource, gasoline, and cannot capitalize on the integration of more renewable energy resources. Tesla vehicles have the capacity to be fueled by electricity from 100% renewable energy. Creating efficient cars such as these will help preserve our air quality for future generations. With the start of electronic cars becoming big today, we see brands like Chevy and Toyota incorporating these into their models as well. This is the start of change that may one day lead to a car that will not negatively impact the environment in any way. Modern medicine is constantly being innovated and through the use of technology has advanced greatly. People think of medicine as a sort of lifesaver, being something that can always be used to cure things from the smallest ailments to the most painful disease. However, some medicine and medical practices in this day and age have not been perfected and ultimately harm people's lives. In 2013, according to the FDA, there have already been 7 drug recalls. This number is extremely high considering how strictly tested medicine is these days. What's even more staggering is that in 2012 there were just under 50 medicine and drug recalls because of the harm they had led to. With all the advances in medicine and technology, why are people still at risk to be at harm or even at life-threatening levels from something that should have been strenuously tested? These quote-unquote failed or bad drugs should be at a much lower number for the safety of our population. With all the testing done in labs and even on some animals, medicine should be 100% perfect for its potential use rather than put on the shelves and eventually causing people harm. So is this risk, although slight, worth the potential danger it hinders for the human race? Medicine has also done great wonders for mankind as well. If we have a headache, we can take our choice of medicines from Advil to Tylenol. If we have a stomach ache, we can take Pepto-Bismol or Alka-Seltzer. Technology and innovation have made small ailments a thing of the past, and with some medicine today, one can even put diseases like cancer in recession. From 2001 to 2007, the survival rate of people who had cancer was 67%. To put this into perspective, about 2 out of every 3 people with cancer survive, which is an excellent rate. Modern medicine is something that will most often benefit people and definitely overwhelms the rate that it negatively affects people. Overall, technological advances have both their positives and negatives to each. Humankind seems to follow a pattern of developing something new, and while watching it advance, works out the kinks in order for it to be beneficial. The statistics do not lie, and for the most part, these advances and inventions are being improved to help not only mankind but the world we live in as well. I believe one day, ultimately, there will be other issues that will come out about other than disease and environment and technology, and humans will adapt the situation, rightfully so. We've come a very long way from our beginning, and looking out for our future will help us advance and continue to prosper here on Earth, and who knows, maybe another planet someday. Thank you for watching.